Yo, what's up, guys? Here with a deck profile for the deck I played this last locals and went undefeated against Rogue. Nothing crazy, just first tries against Rogue. This is the deck we played, and yeah, I'm just gonna try and get into it. Try and keep this somewhat fast. Yeah, so let's just dive right in. This is a 40 card list, I believe. Yeah, so we'll start with Mermails. Played 3 Teus. Basic consistency, strong extender. Really liked it. It's pretty obvious. 3 Pikes. Decided to play 3 Pikes because it is a starter and it combos a lot with all your discards in the deck. And yeah, you like to have additional copies. And it just offers another normal summon to the deck outside of Prince. And yeah, I really liked it. I actually really enjoyed Pike at 3. Continuing on, we got a Shadow Squad. Played this at 3. Did not play this at 2 like a silly boy, like I see some other people doing. But yeah, so 3 Shadow Squad. I really liked it. I feel like it's mandatory to play this at 3 in at least this type of like standardized list where you need to be opening combo. And this is just like, this is the best starter on the deck. This combos with your Pikes, your Teuses, your Megalos, your Ice Jade, your the new Atlantean. Yeah, it's just a great overall card, great extender, great starter, and then its on-field effect is really important as well. So you just want to have this rotation in some regard. Continuing on, next for some of our one-ofs, we have one Megalo here, 1 Gun, and 1 Oshia. So Megalo, I almost didn't have in the list. I put it in last second, and I was actually really happy I added this card. It's honestly a great extender. It's really nice having a Sea Serpent you can search that allows you to start getting like some of your discards out of your hand, and you start moving. And honestly, being able to have like Megalo in hand plus like Shadow Squad, Dragoons, Infantry, even like Prince if you already have like a board established, Gun as well. Like just being able to get like multiple chain links going. Plus Megalo is an actual threat now because he searches an extender. And yeah, so I really like Megalo a lot. And in the standardized list, I definitely think at least 1 Megalo is necessary. Next, I play the 1 Gun. It's nice for the combos. It's a solid extender when you're playing a lot of Mermails and you play the Megalos and the Teuses. And yeah, I really like Gun for this event, especially because you're not just reviving. Like honestly, Gun has a lot more options now, just because of the fact that you keep special summoning back your Shadow Squad. Yes, your Pikes for rank 4 plays, your Teuses with Megalo for rank 7 plays. Yeah, and especially like also being able to summon back Gaio, so you could like put a material under him. And then I played the 1 Oshia for like the Teus combo. After actually playing the deck, you don't really rely on like what I noticed is like. One, you're never really opening just Teus and nothing. Like this deck's a lot more consistent now, and I don't think that's as necessary. Maybe if you play more non-engine, you want to have something like the Oshia. But I would say when you're playing all the engine that I am, I really don't think the Oshia combo comes up. Oshia isn't a bad card, but it's not, it's definitely like an additional extender. And it does have instances where it's like nice to have, but it's definitely not necessary, and I would probably cut it going forward. Next for the Atlanteans, played 3 Princes, obvious, the best card in the deck, still is, always is. I played 1 Infantry. I wouldn't mind playing 2, but I wanted, to reduce the amount of like non-playable cards, like bricks. But yeah, Infantry was great. I definitely wish I could play 2, and maybe I'll experiment with that, just because this deck pushes really well with engine alone, and so maybe additional infantries, even a marksman, might be able to add to that. Next, I played 3 of the new Abyss Shrine. Yeah, this card was great. It serves as another extender / starter to get your plays going. It's also just a nice. It's at its worst sense, it's a nice water discard just to get in your graveyard, so you can use the effect to banish it in your graveyard, discard a card, and draw a card. So that's really nice as well. You can set up like bad boards where you have like this like in your graveyard with infantry in hand, and even if you open like poorly, or you're dealing with like maybe droll or some sense, then this at least offers you something to interact with your opponent. And yeah, yeah, I like the multiple copies, and maybe I would play around with 2, but 3 definitely wasn't bad. And then obviously played 3 Dragoons, just standard, you're searching your Sea Serpents. And then for some of my one-ofs, I played Moonlit Glacia for the hand rip. Yeah, this card is broken as shit. And then I played one of the Ice Jade, just to give me another target to search off the Abyss Shrine, as well as just some versatility, and just multiple and flexibility in terms of like the water cards I use in my hand to discard, trigger other cards. And yeah, I like Ran a lot, and it gives you like a little bit of like a synchro option in the deck. So yeah, Ran was cool. Then I played 1 Title. This is another card I added last second, mainly when I did a couple test games before local started, and I noticed that when I would get to my Poseidra, when I would get to this guy, and I would use his first effect where he detaches 2 to dump a water and then spin back 3. I noticed that by the time I was actually playing this, I had nothing I want to be discarding, or I mean sending from my deck to the graveyard. Yeah, you'd have infantry or prince or dragoons or whatever, but like by the time you get here, those cards are kind of already used up. And so being able to send the title off of it just offers another form of extender, because if you're able to send the title off, then if they deal with this, you get the 3 monsters back, plus you'll have the title. And if you're able to send them back Minstrel, then you can use like title and Minstrel to make your level 10 plays. And just having another card that just like can offer lethal, has high attack, is, you know, it's a floater, it's a 7, it's an extender. Yeah, title was a definitely great addition. You know, in its worst case, it's a discard for an extender. Even if you don't discard it, you can still banish from your graveyard, summon it from your hand. So it's very flexible. Yeah, and so no, for our last little one of, we have a Minstrel here, just because it's, you know, it's, if you can Minstrel your opponent before you make your rank 4, or before you start playing too much, Minstrel's great in that aspect. Being able to hit hand traps is still very important. There's still a lot of strong hand traps you can hit, like, you know, Ash, Imperm, Impulse, let's see, Droll's a huge one, Nibiru even, you can hit that, and yeah, so Minstrel's really cool, and I still like his on-field effect, where when you special him, he can mill 3 to put a water back on the top or bottom of your deck, so he offers some versatility, and just being a tuner, you want to have at least one tuner in the deck, I think, other than Ran. Next, for some of our other one-of spell and traps, I played the 1-for-1 for Prince. I still think it's necessary. It's a solid extender and a starter. Then I played one of the new Abyss Sting. This card was amazing. I love this card. Opening the card was honestly great. It offers a lot of power going into a board when going second, because when the monster you summon off of this basically has protection from card effect destruction. So like, you know, a lot of the times you normal Prince would get popped, and you're like, cool, nice play, end turn. But if you summon Prince off of this, then the Prince will basically have 2 lives on field, and that's a lot harder to deal with. Or you can bait out a bunch of cards and then make your last play this to summon back Prince or Pike from your grave or hand, and then continue playing from there. Because if you resolve Prince, you know, this deck just kind of goes off from there. And then I played the one Virtue Stream to just search target for the rank 3, and I did actually really like this. It was nice to have a different form of interaction versus my opponent. I haven't had an instance where I want to use Graveyard effect yet, but yeah, this card was pretty cool. Next, we're getting a non-engine here. I played 3 Droll, just as I wanted some type of like bomb hand trap I can use, and I don't have any like the expensive cool non-engine at the moment, so I felt like Droll was the best choice, and it feels really weak right now. Then I played 3 Ashes, just, you know, generic hand trap. It's, you know, it's strong on what it does. It's just generically hits everything, and in theory, it's really good against the Mall Chummies. Then I just played 1 Call By, 1 Tactic. I wanted to play more Tactics, but I just couldn't make the room for it. I would actually like to play more Tactics. I think this deck could definitely utilize Tactics. Just being able to draw and just, in your worst cases, just being able to draw into more water cards that you can start discarding and using and playing with. I think that's really strong. And then, you know, just Call By is just so important right now with all the hand traps running around. And then I just played 3 Imperm because I don't have Impulse, and this card's still really strong. And yeah, you know, the hand trap lineup I chose is very safe, very standard. Not too much to say. It's not bad. It's not great. I definitely think I want to play with like more board breaker type of cards. In terms of like main deck cards, I really want to play with. I do really want to play with this card. This card seems like has a lot of potential, and as well as like playing this like super ancient Deep Sea King guy seems pretty cool. I also would like to play I'd also like to main like 3 droplets, and then maybe play like 1 Deep Sea Diva. One, because if you can resolve Minstrel, then you're probably safe to use Deep Sea Diva, as well as like if you start playing droplets, then you can kind of, if you open droplets, you can kind of get to the Diva, normal it, and then you can usually dodge whatever negation effects are happening with the droplets, if depending on, you know, how the hand looks, how the field looks. But you know, so Diva has potential in this deck. I think 1 copy might be fine. But yeah, so moving on to the extra deck, I just played for Lynx, played 1 Zealantis, 1 King, 1 Lacia, 1 Coral. One thing I noticed was that all these get played like every single game. The Zealantis never got played once. In theory, it's good, but also in theory, you know, Poseidra kind of does the same thing as Zealantis. And if you get to the Poseidra and you resolve it, then you probably don't need the Zealantis. I don't think I'm going to cut it yet, but I wouldn't be shocked in the future if this card does slowly fade out. It depends. We need more time. I need more games. I need to see, you know, because it's definitely possible that, you know, you get to Poseidra, you don't get to resolve its effect, but maybe it'll go to the graveyard, you link it off, whatever happens, and then you summon 3 monsters back, and then from there on you can get to the Zealantis. So there's definitely lines there where the Zealantis might be able to come up. But yeah, so in terms of Coral, I only needed one, I only ever needed one. I don't think 2 is necessary. And Lacia and King Lacia is still really strong. It's a good end board piece, and it's really good in a hand where, you know, you get, let's say you get Eve, maybe not shifted, but you get drolled, you have to stop playing, you get mull chummied, and you can't play too many cards. You know, this isn't a too bad of end board piece. And then Mermail King is really cool. You know, just being able to the targeting, being a link 3, it floats, it gets you your abyss spells in rotation, and yeah, so I thought those were fine. Next, I played 2 Poseidras and 1 Gaios. I only play 1 Gaios because I only have 1 ulti, and I'm not going to play another Gaios because I don't have another ulti. I'm not going to pick up another ulti. So yeah, got the 1 Gaios. It was actually fine. I think there was maybe 1 or 2 instances where I wish I had 2, but you can kind of make it work. You know, through Gund, through the Abyss Sting, whether you summon it back off the Abyss Sting or you shuffle it back off the Abyss Sting's graveyard effect. You have ways where you can play around that, and so I think 1 Gaios is fine, but I definitely do like 2 Poseidras, mainly just off the fact that you can make 2 Poseidras in 1 turn. So you can make one using 3 level 7s, and you can make another doing its effect to make it over like a Gaios. So I think the 2 is really strong, and yeah, so I like that, and I'll probably keep that ratio the same. Next, I played 2 Bahamets and 2 Toads. I was actually going to play 1 Bahamut and 1 Toad, but I saw enough lists and enough like toppings that it seemed like the collective opinion was that this deck can definitely afford the 4 slots and can actually utilize the 2 Toad, 2 Bahamets. And so I think that's true. I think if you're going to go full combo, you might as well make sure your board is unbreakable, and I think 2 Toads definitely add a lot to that. And as well as I like instances where you're playing and you get to your first Bahamut and it's negated, but since you have 2 Toads and you have 2 Bahamets, you can then just eventually get to a second Bahamut and at least get 1 Toad on board. And so if you're playing through an interruption, then the Toad kind of did his job playing. You know, the first Bahamut did a job because it took care of 1 card in the opponent's hand. So now they're down to 5 cards when they play, and then when you get your second Bahamut and you have another Toad, it technically puts them down to 4 cards. So yeah, I mean, I like and then you know, if you have Moonlight on top of that, now they're at 2 cards, and then you just kind of scales from there. So yeah, I like the 4 a lot, and in this standard type of list, I would definitely continue with that ratio. Next, for rank 3s, I played Leviture Dragon. Yeah, this is another card where I was going back and forth. I knew it was good, but I didn't know if it was like really worth the slot. But yeah, no, this card's great. Just being able to put waters back in your hand, move materials from itself to Gaios, and search the trap as well. Yeah, thought it was a pretty cool card, and I would continue playing it in this standard type of list. Next, I played this XYZ Armored Torpedo. You play this guy for, you know, like the bad Teus and a water combo. Never came up, and I definitely think I'll be cutting this going forward. I don't know exactly what I would replace it with, but this card is definitely not needed. And then for my synchros, I played 1 Croc, and I played 1 Ice Jade. The Ice Jade definitely came up and was a cool card. Well, I wouldn't say it really came up, but it kind of did. It's nice to have at least one level 10 target, and I think this is the most flexible one. I don't think you need to play a bunch of level 10s. And then I played the 1 Croc just to have a 9. This card could be Trish. It could be any other 9. It could be another synchro, another 10. But yeah, so I thought Croc was it was okay. It's a flex spot. Like I would say in the extra deck, these 2 cards definitely aren't needed, and you could even experiment with like replacing all 3 of these. These 2 for sure, Zealantis and maybe. I don't know exactly what these cards would need to be yet. I have to look at the other options, but yeah, so you can definitely make it work with other cards. Even the Ice Shade is a flex spot, so like if you want to play like the Ice Barriers, you could even like replace these 4 with like the 2 Lancias and like the 2 Trish targets, or like keep the Zealantis or keep the Ice Jade. You'd probably keep it like this, and do like, you know, one Lancia, 1 Trish, one Trish 0, whatever its name is. But yeah, so that deck was fine. And then side deck, you know, they're always kind of last minute put together. I played the 1 Shifter for a crossed out target. I played the Spooky Dogwood for a real event. This card actually comes in here, but for locals, this just doesn't come up for me. Even if I can or should side it in, I'm just not going to, because it's locals and it just feels weird, and that's not the kind of player I really am. So in a real event, I'd probably put this in just because I want to win, but at locals, I wouldn't keep playing it. Next, I played the one Mizuchi in the side. I always had this thing going first. It's definitely worth the slot going first in like a standardized list. Just offers more negation and just makes your impossible board to break even more impossible. So yeah, I like that. Next, played 3 crossouts. These are mainly for Droll, for Dark Ruler, for Shifter, Ash, Imperm, I guess. Nib is nowhere in this list. Nib is such a card. I'm just so... One, people aren't playing it because it's not good. And then 2, it's actually just not good because this deck plays around it in every way. And I just didn't feel like it was worth even the crossout slot. You definitely could, but I just didn't. I didn't care to. Next, I played three thrusts. I was just playing around with different side deck cards because I still wanted to kind of try out board breakers when siding. And so for board breakers, I played 1 Dark Ruler, 1 Lightning, and 2 Evenly. These never really came up, but in theory, it's strong to have off of the thrusts. In theory, it's strong into certain matchups like Rescue Ace and the other like rogue strategies. I would definitely lean towards seeing if I can up the count of non-engine with thrust, maybe mix in like with the main deck as well. I don't know. There's room to play here, and I do like the board breakers. And then I played 1 barrier, mainly for a card I would set off of thrust, and just something I have against random matchups like Tempai or Branded or whatnot. And then I played 1 dweller in the side. Just I would put this in when the matchup dictated that it was necessary. You're never really making this blind going first because you're always going to want to just make an Omni negate, but there's definitely matchups where the Dweller can just kill, and yeah, so I like that. So overall, this deck was it performed really well. Some places I want to mess with is just trying to fit in, trying to maybe move away from hand traps and fit more board breakers in, maybe a little more just like actual engine in, maybe up in the count of Minstrels I'm interested in. Let's see here, be cutting the Oshia, potentially playing more Megalos, potentially playing more Infantries, playing the 1 Diva. There's definitely a lot of things I want to play with in this deck. It has a lot of places for refinement, and this is just in the form of a standardized list. I think there's a lot of other potential. I think you can play with Ice Barriers. I think you can play with even Ice Jades. I think you can play with I wonder how the fishes play with this deck. You can also play like super non-engine heavy, and then just kind of like pull a lot of your engine cards to like 1 of 2 ofs, because you don't really need 3 Teuses, you don't really need 3 Pikes, you don't really need 3 Abyss Shrines. There is room to cut down the engine if you really want to, just to make it a much more streamlined deck that will lose more to hand traps, but will also have more hand traps, so it shouldn't be losing as much going second. But yeah, so that is the list. I don't know if I'll be playing a more optimized version of this list for my next local, or if I'll be playing with some different theory craftings that I have in the works. But yeah, so this is the profile. Thanks for checking out, and peace.